The wind howls across the Heartland Ranch, the horses restless in their stables. A storm is coming, not just in the skies, but in the Bartlett family itself. Jack stands alone near the old barn, his weathered hat tilted low, his eyes distant. There's something different this time, something final in the way he looks out over the fields. Fans can feel it. Could this be the end of Jack Bartlett, the man who's been the heart and soul of Heartland since the very beginning? It starts quietly in Heartland Season 19, Episode 5. The ranch feels heavier, as if carrying the weight of years of memories and unspoken goodbyes. Amy is busy training a troubled horse, trying to bring peace to an animal that mirrors her own inner turmoil. But behind her calm smile, there's worry. A kind of worry only someone who senses something wrong with family can feel. Jack Bartlett has always been a symbol of strength. From the very first season, he's been the rock everyone leaned on, the man who kept Heartland together through death, heartbreak, and change. But in this episode, that strength begins to show cracks. His movements are slower, his eyes distant, and the sparkle that once lit up his face when talking about Marion or Amy seems dimmed. There's an unsettling quiet in his voice, a weariness that fans have never seen before. The writers of Heartland have done something masterful here. They built tension without saying a single word. Jack isn't sick, at least not openly. There's no hospital scene, no doctor's warning. Instead, there's silence. The kind that comes before a storm. The kind that makes fans hold their breath. When he sits alone on the porch, sipping his coffee, looking out at the sunrise, it feels like a man taking in the world one last time, like he knows something the others don't. Tim notices it first. In one powerful scene, he confronts Jack after a morning ride, saying he's been pushing himself too hard. Jack brushes it off, just like always, with that stubborn grin we all know so well. "I've been doing this since before you could walk, Tim," he says. But there's a tremor in his hand as he grips the reins, a flicker of fear behind his eyes. It's a small detail, easy to miss, but it speaks volumes. The camera lingers on him longer than usual this episode. It's capturing every sigh, every pause. It's as if the show itself wants us to take a moment to truly see Jack, to remember everything he stood for: wisdom, love, resilience, and family. The emotional depth here doesn't come from loud drama, but from quiet storytelling. Viewers can feel the weight of time pressing down on him, and the unspoken question grows louder with every frame. Is this the beginning of Jack Bartlett's final ride? This first act sets the tone perfectly, not just as another episode, but as a possible farewell. Every word Jack speaks carries more meaning. Every glance feels like a goodbye. It's not just a storm Heartland is facing. It's the possibility of losing its heart before the storm broke in Episode 5. Heartland was already whispering its warnings. In Episode 4, things didn't seem too alarming at first. The ranch was alive as usual, horses galloping, Amy smiling through her quiet pain, and Jack doing what he's always done best, keeping everyone together. But if you look closer, you'll see the signs were there all along. There was that moment when Jack stayed behind after everyone had gone inside for dinner. The table inside was full of laughter, but he sat alone under the porch light, staring into the distance as if chasing memories. The light flickered, and his shadow stretched long across the wooden floorboards, a quiet symbol of the years behind him. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but Heartland has never needed to shout to break your heart. It speaks through silence, through glances, through pauses that say more than words ever could. In Episode 4, Jack's old truck breaks down again, a scene we've seen before, but this time there's no humor in it. The camera lingers on his reflection in the dusty windshield. He doesn't swear, doesn't complain. He just looks tired. For a man who's faced loss, storms, and heartbreak, it's strange to see him look defeated by something so small. But that's the power of this buildup. It's not the big things that break you. It's the small ones that remind you of how far you've come and how much is behind you. Meanwhile, Amy is caught in her own storm. She's working with a horse that's been through trauma, wild, scared, and hard to trust. The show uses this horse as a mirror to Amy herself, and even to Jack. Both have spent their lives healing others while hiding their own scars. As Amy talks softly to the horse, promising it that it's safe now, can't help but think of Jack doing the same for his family year after year. But who's there to do that for him? Lou, ever the strong businesswoman, is buried in her work as usual. But there's tension in her tone when she talks to Jack. She tells him he's been working too hard, that he should slow down. Jack just smiles that soft, fatherly smile and says, "I'll rest when the job's done." It's the kind of line that breaks your heart because it sounds like something someone says when they know they don't have many jobs left to finish. And then there's the land itself, a silent character that's always reflected the family's emotions. In episode 4, the skies are gray more often than blue, and the music carries a haunting tone. It's almost as if the ranch is mourning something it can't yet name by the end of episode 4. There's a sense that change is coming. Jack's horse hesitates before crossing a stream, and he laughs it off. But fans know better. Heartland doesn't show moments like that without meaning. The writers are setting the stage, one emotional hint at a time. The camera fades out on Jack, walking back toward the barn, his figure small against the setting sun. It feels less like an ending and more like a memory, something we'll look back on when the storm finally hits. Every quiet pause, every heavy sigh, every sunset seems to whisper the same question. How much longer can Jack keep carrying everyone else when his own strength is fading? The morning in episode 5 begins with that kind of eerie calm that only Heartland can capture, sunlight breaking through clouds, the horses uneasy, and a feeling that the land itself is holding its breath. Jack Bartlett is out by the fence line, repairing what seems like just another broken post, but his hands tremble. The hammer slips, pauses. For a man who's fixed everything in his life, fences, families, broken hearts, it's haunting to see him fail at something so small. But this isn't just another morning on the ranch. This is the day everything changes. There's no thunder yet, no lightning in the sky. The storm is inside Jack. He's been carrying the weight of everyone else's pain for so long that he's forgotten what it feels like to rest. Amy comes to him with a worried look. She can sense it. She always does. "Grandpa, maybe you should sit down," she says softly. Jack smiles, that same warm, stubborn smile that fans love, and answers, "If I sit now, I might never get back up." It's one of those lines that hits you long after you've heard it, the kind of truth that feels too heavy to ignore. As the episode unfolds, the atmosphere grows darker. The wind picks up, thunder murmurs in the distance, and a sense of dread creeps into every frame. There's a family dinner that night full of laughter and warmth, but Jack is quiet. He's listening more than speaking, looking at his family like a man trying to memorize their faces. When Lou starts teasing him about finally taking a vacation, he just laughs and says, "I've got all the rest I need right here." The music under that line isn't cheerful, it's tender. Sad, like a goodbye whispered too softly for anyone to catch. Then comes the storm. Heavy rain lashes against the barn as the horses panic. Amy rushes out to calm them, but Jack follows her, despite the thunder roaring above. The camera captures him silhouetted in the lightning, strong but fragile, a shadow of the man we've always known. A sudden noise, a stumble, a sharp intake of breath, and the screen cuts to Amy screaming his name. Time seems to freeze. The storm rages on, and the screen fades to black. The following scene is quiet, too quiet. The rain has stopped, but the house feels empty. Amy's voice trembles as she tells the family what happened. Jack collapsed. We see the doctor's truck outside, the family gathered in silence, and the sound of a clock ticking in the background. The entire Heartland Ranch, usually filled with life, feels still like it's holding its breath with the audience. In this episode, the writers don't rely on shock value. They build emotion with subtlety, the trembling hands, the silence. The storm outside, echoing the one inside Jack's heart. It's not just about a man falling. It's about time finally catching up with him. The one who's been the foundation of Heartland is suddenly fragile, and that shakes every character and every fan to their core. The final moment of the episode lingers long after it ends. Amy standing at the barn door. Rain still dripping from the roof, staring out into the dark fields. Jack's hat sits on the fence post beside her. Soaked but steady, a symbol of everything he's built, and everything that might now be slipping away. And just before the credits roll, the camera pans up to the storm clouds partying, not in hope, but in farewell. There are characters who tell a story. And then there are those who become the story. Jack Bartlett isn't just another name in Heartland's script, he's the very soil the ranch stands on. When you think of Heartland, you don't picture grand gestures or wild drama. You think of Jack sitting on that old porch, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise over the fields he spent a lifetime nurturing, that quiet strength, the key. We're reminded through flashbacks, moments that seem to play not just in the characters' minds, but in ours too. A younger Jack teaching Amy how to ride, his hand on Lou's shoulder after her first heartbreak, his voice telling Tim to stop running from himself. These moments are more than memories, they're the moral backbone of Heartland. Jack wasn't just family to them, he was a compass, always pointing toward what was right, even when it hurt, and that's what makes his possible departure so painful. Jack represents everything Heartland stands for: resilience, forgiveness, family, and the power of love that endures through every storm. He's not a man built on words, but on actions. When Amy lost Ty, it was Jack who stayed beside her, saying little but doing everything that mattered. When Lou's world fell apart, he didn't tell her it would be okay, he simply showed up. That's who Jack Bartlett is, a presence, it's not a promise. There's a moment in this episode, quiet and easy to miss, where Amy finds Jack's old journal. Inside are pages filled with wisdom he never shared out loud. Notes about the ranch, but also about family, on one page. Written in his careful handwriting, it says, "You can't hold back the years, but you can hold on to the people who make them worth living." It's the kind of line that feels like both a message and a farewell-like. Jack knew the end was coming long before anyone else did, for fans who followed Heartland from the very beginning. Jack isn't just a character, he's a part of their lives. He's the voice that reminds us to keep going when things get hard, the steady hand that says it's okay to fall as long as you stand up again. Losing him would be like losing the moral core of the show itself. What's remarkable about Heartland is how it mirrors real life. People grow older, families change. The heroes who raised us eventually have to rest. But Jack's legacy isn't just in the land or the stories, it's in the people he shaped. Amy's compassion, Lou's strength, Tim's redemption, all trace back to Jack. As the episode ends, we see the ranch bathed in twilight. The camera pans across the fields Jack loved, the fences he built, and the home he kept alive. Even if this truly is the beginning of his final chapter, one thing is certain: Jack Bartlett doesn't just leave Heartland. He becomes it. And maybe that's what this episode is trying to tell us, that legends don't die. They simply ride off into the horizon, leaving their footprints on the earth and their wisdom in the hearts they've touched. The moment Heartland Season 19, Episode 5 aired, the internet exploded. Within minutes, fan forums, Reddit threads, and TikTok pages were filled with one haunting question: is this really the end for Jack Bartlett? For a show that's built on calm storytelling and emotional realism, this episode hit like a thunderclap, sudden, painful, unforgettable. Viewers who've watched Jack guide the Bartlett family for nearly 2 decades weren't just worried, they were heartbroken. One fan wrote, "If Jack's gone, Heartland isn't Heartland anymore." Another shared a clip of Jack's earlier. Season's the one where he tells Amy, "You don't quit on family, no matter how hard it gets." The comment section flooded with crying emojis and messages like, "Jack taught me more about family than any show ever could." You could almost feel a collective ache spreading through the offenda, but as emotional as it got, the speculation grew even louder. Some fans are convinced that this isn't the end, that Jack's collapse is just a dramatic turning point. They believe the writers are using the moment to remind us of his fragility, not to write him off. The argument goes like this: Heartland has always been about healing, not endings. It's about facing pain and finding a way through it. Maybe this is Jack's wake-up call, not his farewell. Then there's the darker theory, the one nobody wants to believe, but everyone's talking about. A few eagle-eyed viewers noticed how Episode 5 framed Jack's scenes: longer close-ups, nostalgic lighting, and music cues that feel eerily final. Some say this is the show's way of preparing us emotionally, They're giving us time to say goodbye. One fan commented on Twitter, and we don't even realize it yet. Others point to subtle symbolism, Jack's hat left on the fence, the storm clearing as Amy looks out. Classic metaphors for endings in film language. TikTok edits started rolling in almost instantly. Clips of Jack's best moments, his wisdom, his laughter, his quiet advice, set to slow emotional music. The captions read things like, "If Jack leaves, I leave too." It's more than fandom, it's family grief. For many viewers, Jack represents something beyond the screen, a father figure, a mentor, a reminder of the kind of kindness and honesty that feels rare in today's world. Even the cast interviews have been dissected frame by frame. Shaun Johnston, the man behind Jack, has given a few vague but emotional comments in recent months, talking about change, new beginnings, and how Heartland has taught me everything about family. Fans have taken these lines and spun endless theories. Is he hinting at retirement, or just reflecting on the long journey of his character? And yet, amid all the panic, there's one powerful emotion tying everyone together: love. No matter what happens, every post, every video, every fan edit carries that same underlying message. Jack Bartlett changed people. He reminded us that wisdom doesn't come from books, but from living. That family isn't about perfection, it's about staying, even when it's hard. So, while the theories rage on, from hopeful recoveries to heartbreaking farewells, one truth stands above them all. Heartland fans aren't ready to say goodbye. And maybe, just maybe, that's the greatest compliment a character can ever earn. Jack Bartlett isn't just a man on a show. He's the beating heart of an entire community that grew up watching him. Whether this is the end, or just another storm to weather, one thing's certain: the world of Heartland will never be the same again. Behind Jack Bartlett's rugged cowboy hat and weathered face stands Shaun Johnston, the man who brought him to life with honesty, grace, and quiet power. For nearly 20 years, Shaun hasn't just played Jack, he's become him. When fans talk about Jack's wisdom, his humor, or his soft-spoken courage, we're really talking about the spirit of the man who shaped those traits from his own heart. In real life, Shaun Johnston is much like his on-screen persona, calm, grounded, and deeply connected to nature and family. He's not the kind of actor who seeks fame or the spotlight. He's always said that Heartland isn't just a TV show for him, it's a way of life. In one past interview, he described Heartland as a story about ordinary people doing extraordinary things with love. That's exactly what Jack Bartlett has always represented. But as Heartland moves into its 19th season, fans can't help but notice the parallels between fiction and reality. Shaun, now in his mid-70s, has been part of this journey from the very first episode. Few television actors get to live with a character for this long, to grow old alongside them, to watch them evolve. It's rare, beautiful, and deeply emotional. Which is why when fans see Jack slowing down in season 19, they can't help but wonder, is this art imitating life? Shaun has dropped subtle hints over the years that he's thought about what Jack's legacy should be. In interviews, he's talked about wanting Jack's story to have meaning, to end not with tragedy, but with peace. He's said things like, "Every man has his final ride, but what matters is what he leaves behind." That line could easily be something Jack himself would say, and maybe that's the point. The actor and the character have become so intertwined that it's hard to tell where one ends and the other begins. Still, there's hope. Shaun's love for the show is undeniable. He's spoken passionately about the fans, how their letters, messages, and stories keep him inspired. He's even said that he feels a personal responsibility to Jack's legacy, calling him a voice of calm in a noisy world. That doesn't sound like someone ready to walk away completely. It sounds like a man who understands the weight of what he's built and wants to make sure it's handled with care. Of course, being part of a show for so long takes its toll. The long shooting schedules, the emotional storylines, the pressure to live up to a character who's become iconic, it's no small task. Shaun has occasionally stepped back from filming to focus on his health and personal life. That's perfectly natural, but to devoted fans, every break or lighter episode sparks anxiety. Is he leaving for good? whether Shaun is preparing for his final season or simply taking a well-deserved rest. One thing is clear, he's already cemented his place in television history. Few actors can claim to have created a character who feels this real, this loved. If Heartland ever does say goodbye to Jack Bartlett, it won't just be a character leaving the screen. It'll feel like a friend riding off into the sunset. The kind of goodbye that hurts, but feels right. Because that's how Jack and Shaun would want it. Quiet, graceful, and filled with gratitude. And maybe that's why the thought of losing him is so hard. Because it's not just the end of a storyline. It's the closing of a chapter that shaped generations of viewers. But legends like Jack Bartlett don't really leave. They live on in the land, in the family, and in every lesson they leave behind. When the credits rolled on Heartland Season 19, Episode 5, fans everywhere sat in stunned silence. The rain had stopped, but the ache hadn't. Jack Bartlett, the soul of the ranch, the man who taught generations how to stand tall through pain, was lying in a hospital bed, his fate uncertain. And as the storm clouds cleared over the foothills, one question echoed across every fan's heart. What happens now? The world of Heartland has always been built around one unshakable truth, that life keeps moving, even when the ones we love can't ride beside us. But this time, that truth feels harder to accept. Without Jack, the ranch feels like it's missing its heartbeat. The porch swing still creaks, the coffee still brews, but everything feels a little quieter. The show's writers have carefully placed us here, in a space between loss and hope, forcing everyone, both characters and viewers, to face what comes next. Amy will likely become the emotional center now, not just as a mother or horse trainer, but as the new anchor of Heartland. She's learned everything she knows from Jack: patience, compassion, and strength through silence. In a way, his lessons were preparing her for this moment all along. We can already sense a shift in her, that quiet determination, that flicker of resilience that says, "I won't let his legacy fade." She'll carry his spirit in the way she tends to the horses and the land. Every gesture, every glance toward the horizon will remind us of Jack Lou, on the other hand. Might find herself struggling. Jack has always been her moral compass, grounding her when ambition pulled her too far away from home. Episode 6 and beyond might show her coming to terms with what really matters, not the business deals or the city projects. The simple truth Jack always believed in, that family comes first. She might even move back to the ranch full-time. It's realizing that her father's wisdom still guides her through every decision she makes. And then there's Tim, perhaps the one who will change the most. His complicated bond with Jack has been a cornerstone of the show since the beginning. They've fought, forgiven, and found their way back to each other countless times. Losing Jack would hit Tim harder than anyone else, not just as a loss, but as a reckoning. It might finally push him to become the kind of man Jack always hoped he'd be: steady, humble, and honest for the ranch itself. Heartland will transform from a place of healing to a living memorial, a space filled with memories, lessons, and love. Every board Jack fixed, every gate he built, every piece of wisdom he left behind will become part of the land's spirit. The writers could easily weave this into future episodes, letting fans feel that Jack is still there, not as a ghost, but as a presence, guiding from beyond through the people who loved him. But perhaps the most powerful part of what comes next is what we, the fans, will carry forward. Jack Bartlett has been more than just a fictional man. For years, he's reminded people to stay grounded, to lead with kindness, to believe that family, whether by blood or by bond, can weather any storm. Losing him on screen might break hearts, but it will also cement his role as one of television's most timeless father figures. So, is this truly the end for Jack Bartlett? Maybe. Or maybe it's the start of a new chapter, one written in his memory, through the people he shaped and the lessons he left behind. In the world of Heartland, endings aren't really endings. They're just new beginnings, wrapped in love and loss. As the final scene fades to black, we hear Amy's voice whisper softly. He used to say, "The land remembers." Maybe that's how I'll keep him in the wind, the horses, and every sunrise that touches this place. And that's when it hits you. Jack Bartlett may be gone, but Heartland will always be his.